But let me just talk to you a little bit about what we're going to look at today. I'm going to take a few minutes at the beginning to set up what the question is we're trying to deal with. What's the problem we're trying to deal with? The other thing that we're interested in is the context, putting capability-based planning in context. It's an idea that's not that new. What is new over the last 10 years are the tools, the techniques, the methods have become much more regularized. So what's the problem? Interestingly enough, Peter Drucker stated the problem many, many years ago. I don't know how many people remember Peter Drucker. He passed away in 2005 or 2006, I don't remember which. Famous economist, he's understood it for a long time. The challenge that we have is knowing what to do to keep the business fresh, keep it focused on the outcomes and the objectives, and to validate continually the assumptions that the business is using to run. In today's context, one of the things that we do, we've heard these things over and over and over. There's a huge rate of change that's going on in there. Pressure is coming on organizations, be it public sector, private sector, not-for-profit, from many, many different directions to drive the business and drive it in new and different ways. We also see that the businesses are constantly transforming. And they're transforming at different strata of the organization, going right from the boardroom in the minister's office down to the mailroom at the bottom. And these are touching many, many areas, and we're having to understand how resources can be used, deployed, redeployed, or wound up. So let's look about the stratification of capabilities. If we look at them, there's really two things that are going on. Up at the minister's office, and the higher order parts of the organization, there's the business design. How is this business designed to create value for the recipients of the services that it's doing? There's a handoff between the capabilities that are required to deliver that value and all of the infrastructure, applications, business services, the information and technology infrastructure. There's a huge amount of resources being consumed, and understanding how those resources are being consumed are enabled through capability-based planning. We've heard of capability maps. We've seen many different kinds of organizations try to do them. The real thing is understanding the capabilities in the organization that exist today, what resources they're consuming, what services are being utilized to realize that capability, what processes are supporting the services, what solutions and applications are supporting the processes, the infrastructure and the logistics, how the people are connected to this. And if you understand that chain within your organization, then you can start to manage change effectively. You've got some information about what's happening, where it's going, why it's going there, why you've got to do something about it, thoughts from the strategic planners about what courses of action you're going to take to correct this. And you can assess your current capabilities performance against those performance metrics. The new tools that are building up these models are building a massive database underneath them and managing the relationships for you. You can start to go in and interrogate them, where you say, if I make a change to this capability at this level, what's impacted? And it'll tell you all the little bits and pieces underneath that are impacted. So what we're looking for here is to identify gaps and to conduct impact assessments on doing something about that gap. That also allows you now to start thinking about the planning side of this, because there's never enough resources to do everything. Which resources are going to get what priorities to do what transformations? And this is now, you've got the capability map. You've decided which capabilities through analysis need to be worked on. You're now going to start to take those apart and look at them in some more detail to identify, well, what are the increments we can practically look at? Because I've made the assumption you've also looked at the enterprise architecture side of things. And we don't have time to look into that one today. But you go into the enterprise architecture now. What are going to be the increments? What are the tangible and intangible benefits to doing these? Develop an implementation and migration plan, because you've now got a lot of information. Review projects. So what are you doing already that you should be doing and you shouldn't be doing, or what are things that aren't in line with the priorities of the organization? Have they changed since the last time you did one of these reviews? There may be projects that are trying to change a capability that you no longer want to do, and you want to shut those down, transfer their resources onto looking at this one. What you've got going on here, these green boxes, those are either capabilities or capability increments. And you may go through a set of capability increments before you actually deliver the full capability. Over the last 10 years, enterprise tools have advanced significantly. And they now allow us to communicate to the business in a way that we've never been able to before. Instead of having long prose, which often has inconsistencies and ambiguities, we now have fixed and formal grammars that we can use to create a consistent, clear picture of what the outcomes we want to achieve are. And those pictures can be communicated to many different levels in the organization. Particularly of importance are the decision makers, such as the boards, the ministers, assistant ministers. And these pictures then provide the support for making informed decisions about where to make investments and set priorities.
Got a query but short on time? Email your question to info@trm.ca. Just send us your message along with details of your preferred means of contact, and we'll be in touch as soon as possible. You'll find the address at our website, trm.ca.